Thank you so much. Appreciate the opportunity from the League for allowing us. It is an important issue, and we just want to make sure, just as any other item of importance in the city, that all the residents are engaged and armed with the information they need to go to the ballots and make decisions for the community. So as she had mentioned, issue 13, it is what's called a continuation of an income tax. A lot of times we hear the word renewal, and I don't want to confuse you, it is essentially a renewal, but renewals are associated to property tax, and this is not a property tax. This is a continuation of the existing income tax, and it's earned income tax. And it is dedicated to safety services within the community, and there's a few pieces of information on the back table. If you didn't get an opportunity to get it, please do so. One of which is a postcard that has the actual ballot language that you're going to be seeing on the ballot May 5th. So if you have any questions about that, please, by all means, take a look at our website, give us a call to make sure you understand exactly what the ballot language reads. Also is a trifold that has some information and a little bit more details and history as to what the issue is about. And I'll touch on that briefly. Essentially, this is a 0.25% or a 1/4% renewal or continuation of our income tax. That's valued at $1.75 million. That $1.75 million is dedicated 40.5% towards police, 40.5% towards fire, and the remaining 19% is remaining general city services, mainly Parks and Recreation Senior Center. Much like issue 19 in November that we thank graciously the community for embracing and passing for us, this is the same scenario to maintain the services that we have today in the community. It's vitally important for our public safety because of the $8 million from the general fund that provides funding to public safety. It's critically important. If issue 13 does not pass, then obviously we're facing a reduction plan. And a reduction in services, primarily in safety, as I said. 80% of this 0.25% is for police and fire. So a reduction of 80% of $1.75 million, that's well over $700,000 per department. And that basically means that there will be a reduction in personnel and some services offered by police and fire. And we certainly hope that we do not have to engage that reduction plan, but details about that are on our website as well. So again, just to recap, issue 13 is not a new tax. What it is a continuation of our existing income tax. And it's earned income tax. Very important that you understand that if it's not earned income, it's not taxed. In other words, retirements, pensions, dividends, interest income, etc., that's not earned income. If you're working, you're earning a paycheck, that's earned income. And that is what would be applicable to the city's 2.25% earned income tax. So that, in a very brief nutshell, is a review. We have a lot of information on the website. I please encourage you to go to that. Also, on April 23rd and also April 30th, we have some community forums for this quarter. Of course, this will be a topic. We will continue those forums on a quarterly basis, but for this first quarter, this is an important topic, and we certainly want to cover it. So additional information will be covered in that. And as well, I want to be respectful for the time and the purpose of this event tonight. So I will wrap up my comments, and again, encourage you if you have any questions, please. Our goal is to educate and inform you, to provide you the information you need to make a good decision for the community.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
I'm Pat Falke. I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters, and with me tonight is Becky Kirkland, and also Michael Lewis up and back. And you notice he's a man, so we're called the League of Women Voters, but you can also join if you're a man, and we encourage you to check us out. We're nonpartisan. Our goal is just Rob's goal to inform the public, get information about issues and candidates out so that you can have the information you can use to vote. So let me go over what our format will be this evening. We're going to, and I think if anyone wanted to ask a question, you got a card, right? Maybe a pen so that you could write it down, or more than one question is fine. We're going to allow each candidate to give a 2-minute opening statement about why they're running and what they're hoping to do. And then after that, we thought we would open it up to questions that you can pass to Becky, and we will then ask the questions. You can direct them to the entire panel up here, all the candidates, or to one individual. That's up to you. It's your question. So with that in mind, let's start the candidate forum, and I'm going to introduce everybody from your right to my left. And the first person up here in alphabetical order is Glenn Otto, Jacqueline Lee Shook, is next to Glenn, Matthew Truman, and Jan Barga. Okay, so we'll start this in alphabetical order. So, Glenn, you get 2 minutes, and Becky's going to be
All right, as she said, my name is Glenn Otto, and I am a candidate for the at-large position this year for Heber Heights. I want to first start off by thanking you all for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it, and I want to thank the other candidates for being involved as well. I'm glad to see such a big turnout for the process of primary. Real quick about me, my wife Andy out here and I moved here in 1994. We operate a local business here in Heber Heights on Fishburg Road, and we have 3 sons. Our oldest is 27, currently serves as a Marine. Our middle son is 18, is a senior at Wayne High School, about to go off to college. And our youngest is 16, is a junior at Wayne High School. We've been involved in volunteer efforts since we moved to Heber Heights, through local youth sports, through other nonprofit organizations such as Every Warrior Plays, through the Chamber of Commerce, and other things. The reason I am running is because I want to push forward those volunteer efforts, and I believe this could be the next step in that process. I've already stepped up to serve the city as a member of the Ordinance Review Commission in 2010. I currently sit as a member of the Board of Zoning Committees. Moving forward, I had a lot more to talk about, but moving forward, I think I want to focus on this. I'm looking to see a little more fiscal responsibility within our city. I think we're pushing too hard on large projects when we need to step back and represent our community a little bit more. We need to work on improving such things as our parks and our infrastructure. Our water systems age and need repair, as well as our roads. And we need to start reaching out and being more cooperative with other entities within our city. We stand as a separate entity from our schools, but I believe if one doesn't succeed, neither will the other. We've got to start working hand in hand with the schools, with local businesses, and with individuals as well. I'll go ahead and wrap up now. I just got the stop card, but yeah, I'll let you. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Jacqueline Lee Shook.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Lee Shook, as you've heard already. I'm a citizen of Heber Heights. Actually, I go way back. We moved in the area when my father built the house here in Heber Heights, and I went to Wayne High School, went on to college, left town, came back to the area to work at Wright Patterson Air Force Base. And I raised my daughter here, and my daughter's raising my granddaughter here. My father is gone, but my mother is still here with us, so there's 5 generations of Heber Heights here. And my background is working at Wright Patterson Air Force Base. I was a contracting officer over there, which basically means negotiation of contracts, interaction with the contracting community at large. A lot of legal aspects involved, so that's kind of a background of preparation as far as I'm concerned for working with the City Council. My objective in working with the council and working with the city is that I clearly have a passion for this area. I love Heber Heights. I think it's a great place to work. I think it's a great place to live. I enjoy what's been coming as far as the parks, the development of parks, that sort of thing. And I'm seeing that we have some services and needs that I feel would be beneficial to go ahead and emphasize. There's a lot of an undercurrent every week. We all see the reports of how many thefts there were in the area. That's generally kind of being following whatever the use of drugs and that sort of thing, illegal substances. And I'd like to see some more emphasis placed on that in the community honest. Not that we're not, interested in that, but I think it's a really important thing. It's one of the things that I would focus upon as a council person. And also, I would like to see to bring my own passion for whatever it is that people want in the community. I'm open more to what the people want to have done. Surveys on the website separately that people can tell me what's important to you. I believe schools are important. I believe concern for our community members is important. Thank you. It's time for me to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And next is Matthew Truman.
My name is Matthew Truman. I am running for city council because we need someone who speaks for us. I was born here in Weber Heights. I went to Monticello, Studebaker, Weisenborn right here. I went to Wayne High School. This is a city that I love and I keep coming back to. The things that I want to see change is the reckless spending that is going on right here in Weber Heights. For instance, we have a new music center. Looks nice. I have tickets to the White Yoga, June 5th, and I want to see it succeed. But does anyone else believe that we could have used that money for something else? I do, personally. I get frustrated. I've tried to call and contact council members. Sometimes I get a robot response, other times I just get ignored. And I've heard that from other people throughout Weber Heights. So I get frustrated. So I decided to run, and I want to work and be a person who works for you guys. I'm not about the political stuff. It doesn't faze me. I don't own a business in Weber. I'm not looking to do anything other than be your council person. So that's about it. I'll wrap it up there.
Thank you, Matt. And next, Jan Varga.
I'm Jan Fargo, their current council person, and I don't think there's anyone that has more passion about this city than I do. I have been involved in everything that has happened in this city since we became a city. We were a two-lane, 201, 202, two-lane, north to south, when I came on council, and now look what we have. We were a bedroom community. We didn't have a tax base. We now have a lot of businesses, economic growth. We have parks that are well maintained and continue to grow. We have a YMCA for our youth. We have a senior center for our seniors. We have an aquatic center. Just so many things that it has been such a pleasure for me to be involved in. I can't tell you how important it is to know the issues that we have right now. We're looking to build the city into what you want. As your council person, I think that I have been very responsive and very respectful and certainly listened to you. And I have always had the opinion that it really doesn't matter who gets the credit, so long as the job gets done. And folks, I really think that we've gotten the job done. We have a fantastic staff. Anytime that we have a question, we know which staff person to go to and they get the answers for us. We have a staff that we can go to and say, okay, maybe we've heard from the citizens that they would like to look at whatever the issue might be. And we will charge the staff to go look at that. They come back with us with our options and we then take a look at those. Hope you will continue to keep me on council.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, your questions, can you let Becky pick them up if you've got them? Okay. And while you're writing your questions down, to kick this off, I thought I would just start with a general question for the entire panel, and Jan will just stay with you and come this way. We know that Huber Heights has been in the news a lot lately. And what are you most proud of that's happening in Huber Heights?
Did you say you're starting with me?
Yeah,
I'm
starting
sorry,
with you.
yeah. What am I most proud of? There are so many things, it's hard to pick one. Right now, I'm very, very excited about the opening of our new music center. There, we have already sold over $1 million in ticket sales. That is amazing, people. We haven't even opened yet, and yet we know it is a success. This was what we had hoped would happen because people from all over are coming to our city, and that's going to make businesses want to come here. We already have PJ Chunks as a result of the music center, and we certainly expect that we will have more. So I guess, what am I most proud of right now? That's our most recent project, but I'm most proud of the city that we have become and that we are becoming. Thank you.
Matt?
What I'm most proud of is the people that live here. We have a lot of good people, a lot of diversity right here in Huber Heights. A lot of great minds that can help this city move forward. Those minds need to be utilized. That's what I want to do. And that's what I'm most proud of, living in probably the most diverse city in Dayton, one of the Dayton suburbs. So.
I'm most proud of the community, and not to take Truman's, but the pride in the individuals. I walk my dogs in a pretty wide area in Huber Heights, and I pay attention to landscape and properties and things. And people, by and large, in this community keep their homes beautiful. It's a very pretty community. We gained quite a bit of fame for being the largest single older community quite a few years ago. I'm not sure if it's been surpassed or not, but nonetheless, it has been maintained as a very, very nice place to live with a lot of personal pride that people hold and have for them. And it's a really neat place to be, and it makes me feel good to live there.
Well, I'm going to sound like I'm echoing once again, but community is a big thing around here, and in my experience, there's a lot of volunteerism in Huber Heights, and I'm very proud of the people that step to the plate to offer their time and their money. I found through working with a lot of different organizations like Relay for Life, Every Warrior Plays, working with the high school, all the state runs that have happened this year, that the community will come out when they're needed and when they're called and support. I think that really is the heart of our community, the people that live here, and how willing they are to step forward when they're needed.
Thank you. All right, this next question, I'm going to go through those that are directed to all the candidates first, and then there's some for individuals. This is to all. We'll start with you, Matt. My greatest concern is how bad some of the properties are being taken care of. Not the vacant ones, but those that people are living in. How would you fix this?
How would I fix it? Well, in my opinion, yes, we want people to take care of their property, so there's some things that can be done, but that's their property. Are we going to tell people that, if there's a car on the box, obviously we need to do something about it, but if they forget to mow the grass once in a while, that's different. So I think it would depend on how bad the property is unkempt. So, but we can't, in my opinion, we can't force people to adjust certain things on the property. That's just where government doesn't belong, in my opinion.
Jacqueline?
I say basically, like I said, I think most of the properties are pretty well kept, and I do know what you're talking about. I had the neighbor from the other place for a long time, and their property was not well kept, but all around it was lovely. I've seen the most effective method is to go in and have standards and statutes in place, such as, I believe there's a continuing effort on sidewalk program, for example, and that's simply where a standard is set, and then everyone either is already at that standard or they must bring their property to that standard. So I think that effective, nonpartisan, just, everybody needs to not have their cars on blocks, as Matt said, that sort of thing, but just establishing minimum standards for reasonableness.
As well as our business properties, yes, our private properties are continuing to fall into decay a little bit when you look around, especially in the south end of Huber Heights. I think a lot of that stems from the fact that the current enforcement is driven through complaints primarily. A lot of our departments have kind of shrunk in size, and they don't have the manpower or the staff to handle going out and actively letting people know what's required of them and what's asked from them. We do have ordinances in our books that require certain things of us and our property, and it's not being enforced. We need to work with our community to let them know what we expect of them, what we expect of our community, and how they can get there to do that. There's opportunity, I think, if the city were to take a look around and look into some different programs. I've spoken with some realtors and other individuals that have told me that there are programs that we can get involved with to help owners to reinvest in their properties. These are the types of things that council needs to come forth actively once again, investigate these options and put them on the table for our public to be able to use them.
Jan?
It's interesting that Glenn would talk about programs that are available because, in fact, we are involved in a very important program just recently started, is the revitalization of the city. And because of that program, what happens is the city has to step in and foreclose on these properties that are bank-owned, that have been sitting there for months and months. After the foreclosure, then that can be put on the market or sold, go to sheriff's sale. But what has happened with 3 of these properties is the property owners have actually come forward, paid their taxes, and now they're back on the books. So the schools are now getting their property taxes. As far as we do have property maintenance issues in Huber Heights, but you as residents and citizens, when you see something, you need to call City Hall. You need to inform the zoning department that such and such a house has a car on blocks, and they can take care of it. So we have to work together on this. We're working very hard. We do have a shortage of people. We would like to have someone out on the street all the time. We don't have that, but help us out. That's what we ask.
Thank you. Jacqueline, we'll start with you on this one, and this kind of feeds right into this question. With state funding greatly reduced, what would your approach to generating funds to ensure city services are not reduced? What would be your approach, Jack?
I think that the city income tax renewal is probably going to be the mainstay of that. Funding must come from the community, and it's not kind of a state, then local funding has to be generated. And that's a fair and balanced approach, and the percentage rises with the income. So that's the best we can do right now. That bake sales.
Jacqueline's absolutely right. Currently, the tax renewal, it will carry the day, but it's simply a temporary fix. We can't continue to just ask people for more money again and again and again. Our city needs to get its spending under control. It needs to learn how to invest in proper projects that people want, people desire, people ask for. It needs to get involved with its residents to find out exactly what we're looking for, what we want from our city, what we want from our community. As it stands, I don't see enough interaction between council and our community. Again, in order to keep up with these costs, we're going to have to find cost-saving measures out there. We can't continue to just spend our way out of everything and then hold our hat in our hand over and over again. We sit at one of the higher tax rates in the region, and I think we can do better than that. I really do. But it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of ingenuity, and it's going to have to take some thinking out of the box and creative ideas to get some things done.
Jan?
It's not a temporary fix. This issue 13 that's on the ballot is not a temporary 2025 plan. This will keep the services that we currently enjoy till 2025 with no further taxes. But we must pass this levy, this continuation. It's no new taxes, it's what you're already paying, it's just a continuation of what we have now. If this passes, we will not come to you for more taxes. We will keep the services that we currently have for what we're currently paying. So that's how we handle it. We know that we've had a lot of cuts from the state and federal. You're absolutely right about that. But as these cuts have happened, we've also made cuts. We've tightened our belts in the city, and we have taken care of making sure that our city is not going to have big financial problems. We have hired great financial people that have kept us on top of all of these issues before they come to us. Thank you.
Matthew?
Allow me to be a little blunt. That's an excuse for me personally. In 2008, I keep hearing about the crash. That's what did it to us. It's 2015, and we continue to call for new levies. Is it a new levy? It's a new levy. They say it's a continuation, but if you vote no, I'm not saying I'm going to vote no, but if you do vote no, do you have to pay the same amount in taxes? No, you don't. It goes down 0.25%. It is a continuation. It is a renewal. The sloganeering can be done however it needs to be done. I love this city, and I probably will vote for the levy because I've been forced. We have been, our hand, forced to vote for this thing. But it's an excuse. We continue to see these levies time and time again. And to say that we won't see another levy, I don't believe that. And if you guys believe that, I just don't believe it.
Next question, we'll start with Glenn. How have you supported Huber schools?
Well, during football season, you'll see me in the cafeteria every Friday serving food to all of our football players. My wife is an integral portion of the Every Warrior Plays, and by default, I am a very big part of that organization as well. We devote a lot of time and effort to creating ways to come up with ideas to offset the amount of money that it costs these kids to play sports, because we believe that it's very important in a child's growth to experience all kinds of things. Education is one thing, but they need the experience of social interactivity, sports, all these things help them to grow. So we've been highly active within our schools. I know most of the people that work in the schools will recognize that we're there.
My turn?
Yes.
Okay. I have supported the schools always because our children need to have a good education, and you get your education first from your home and second from the schools. We have to have good schools in order to have a good community. Personally, I have 5 children. 3 of them graduated here at Wayne. I come from a military background, so we haven't lived here forever, but I have lived here for 40 years, so that's a long time. And in that time, I was always, when my kids were in school, obviously, I was involved in the PTA, any activity, the band, the football, the basketball, the baseball, but they're all gone, and I still support all of those activities because they're important. I also support the arts that they have. I have a very good working relationship with Superintendent Sue Gunnell and also Principal Cosby at the high school. I have visited numerous schools and given presentations and presented them with city trinkets that they enjoy, whether it be a pencil or some little something from the city and let them know what it is to be a council person and how important it is that when they grow up that they register and that they vote.
Matthew?
How much do those pencils cost?
Ask our clerk of council, he orders them for us.
How do I support the schools? My kids don't go to Huber Heights City Schools. They go to St. Peter's. But what I do is I try and support the Every Warrior Plays program. I hit the first annual 5K and seen the mayor run past me, along with Tracy Dudley running past me. I think she laughed at me. That was hard, sorry, bad joke. That's what I do. The best way I can is to support the schools, is try and hit up the fundraisers for the student athletes. How would I support the schools as a council person? You would have to have some type of a liaison from the city to the schools to maybe work with them, since the city gets the levies passed. We need to get the levies passed for the school too, and they have a secret weapon. The schools of Huber Heights probably need that weapon.
I also support the schools, as everyone here supports the schools through my taxes. Property owner here, my daughter's a property owner here, we pay our taxes, keep our schools running. We believe in passion in the schools. I am a strong advocate for, hey, Wayne schools are good. I myself represent the school whenever I represent myself. I graduated there, and it's an outstanding system. And it's noted, the sports is noted also statewide. Championships, people here care. There's a lot of passion. I don't usually read the sports pages, but I read the sports pages for the Huber Heights Courier because I enjoy seeing what our schools are doing, what our students are doing. And that kind of support is important. That's intrinsic in our behavior as I speak to people, and they know where I'm from, and I tell them where I'm from. And we talk about, of course, I don't talk much about sports. I'm not very good at talking about sports, but I keep up with what we're doing in sports. It's a support. Yes, it is.
Now, I started with
Yeah.
So we're all finished with that question, right? Sure. So the next one, I'm going to start with Jan. All right. Correct. I'm going to give us a couple just quick yes/no questions, if that's okay with everybody. Just answer yes or no, because we've got some of these here. Do you think our city employees are overpaid?
No.
Matthew?
No.
Jacqueline?
No.
Okay. Got that answer. Everybody agrees on that one. Now, if a responsible Ohio gets their legislation through, passed, are you going to support marijuana growing in Huber Heights? Yes or no?
Yes.
My jury is still out on that. There's a lot of study that has not been done. The 4 states that have passed the laws, they're there to encounter a lot of issues and situations that we haven't even thought of yet. I'd really like to all stand down on that and say, let's look and see what happens with that first. It is a psychotropic drug. Sir?
Yes or no?
Not right now, no.
Lynn, yes or no?
Yes, properly regulated.
Yes, okay. Jan?
I'll listen to the voters when it comes to ballot.
All right. All right. Now, this is one for everyone. What credentials or experience would you bring to the job as far as fiscal responsibility and financial management are concerned? Let me start with, who's next? Matthew.
Well, first of all, my bills are paid. So well, the best way that I think that we could be fiscally responsible is stop the spending. So I would, as a council person, have to vote on spending measures that the city puts up. If it's something that we can afford and that we desperately need, I would vote yes. If it's something that's frivolous that we don't need, I'm going to vote no. We have to get down to what needs to be done, and what needs to be done is the crazy spending. That's my opinion.
Jacqueline?
The background that I'm bringing is, as a contracting officer, I work directly with the financing of our contracts and the development of the budgets for those contracts. And it's basically we call it program management, but that's cost, schedule, performance management. And the same type of thing needs to be applied to the issues in Huber Heights. How much money do we have? What are the real needs of the people? Where can we spend the money the best, most wisely?
My wife and I, as I stated before, operate a business here in Huber Heights, and if we couldn't manage money, we wouldn't eat.
We're starting with Jacqueline this time. Well, actually, this is a question for Jan, and then what we'll do, and then there's a follow-up that's actually, that would go to Matt. So I'm going to read this question. It's a little long, but we'll start there, and then others can comment on it as well. Of the $1 million in ticket sales you mentioned from the Music Center, how much will actually go to the city, and how much profit will be available, keeping in mind that a significant amount will be due to pay the note loan that was obtained to build the Music Center?
Boy, that's a multi-question. Let me say this, it's very premature to answer, simply because we haven't even opened yet. So even though we have the ticket sales, they may double. They may stop where they are now. We just don't know what it's going to be. So until we actually know, how can you answer that question as to how much profit there will be from that? Number two, if this question were asked of me 3 or 4 months from now, I would go to my finance director or to city staff to get the answer to that question. It's not something that I have off the top of my head. That's a lot of numbers, and because we do have a great staff, that's exactly what I would do. Was there a third part to that question?
No, but that's
was
good.
it?
And I think that,
Okay.
this other one is for Matt, that follows off of that one. What would you have done with the money that was
What would
used
I
for
have
the
done with
Music
the
Center?
money? The Music Center was built on tax increment financing. What I would have done with the money is there's, okay, first of all, let me go back to, we have a lot of different dollar stores and stuff popping up, new dollar stores. Could TIF funds or TIF districts be brought out there in South Huber where we could build, revitalize the city? Okay, what I had done with the $20 million, I probably would not have built the Music Center. That's what I know I would have done.
But what would you have done with it?
Well, what I have done with the money is probably not have created the district or voted for the TIF district.
Go ahead, Glenn.
I would like to speak to the question asked to Jan because there is an answer to that question. The answer is this: if we stop right now at $1 million, $225,000 would go to Mimi as the managing company for their management fee. After that, we would have to pay our bills, pay the artists, and then after what we had left, we would get to keep 60% of that, and Mimi would get the other 40%. That's how that $1 million would be spent.
Jacqueline, do you have anything to add to either?
I don't have insight to the books and to the circumstances right now. I do the financial statements, as Jan said. I think it's a reasonable way to approach it. We need to know without exactly.
I think we're going to start with you this time, Jacqueline. Is that right? Okay. Do you have any proposals to bring new businesses to Huber Heights and renovate the many vacant buildings in the older shopping centers?
I think that the tax advantages can be given in those situations, indeed. Not necessarily as drastic as the Weisenborn homes issue came about, where we took half the real estate taxes and just basically cut all the taxes due in half, so the rest of us get to pay the burden. But I think the tax advantages and tax breaks can bring the businesses in.
Glenn?
Same question. Can you repeat that?
Do you have any proposals to bring new businesses to Huber Heights and renovate the many vacant buildings in the older shopping centers?
Yeah, first of all, we need to start working with those businesses who are trying to come into Huber Heights and do something good with their business. U-Haul tried to relocate into the building where the outlots used to be on Grant Pike. where the city should have stepped forward, reached their hand out to them and asked them, how can we work with you to revitalize this area because we know it's in bad shape, and start on that development as a project to redevelop that entire area. The city chose instead to put a burden on them of what they could and couldn't do. There are certain areas of that building that have been closed off. They're currently in a remodeling phase, and they're not getting a lot of cooperation from the city. If we could reach out to these businesses, show them that we are willing to work with them, start working with our Chamber of Commerce, and let people know that we want them to come to our city, we want them to be a part of our plan, whatever that may be, and we need to work with them to develop that plan. We're going to get more businesses willing to step up and walk into Hoover Heights because they're going to realize that's the place to be.
Well, it's interesting that Mr. Otto would mention working with the Chamber of Commerce because just today the Chamber Director, and I am quoting, credits the current council with economic development. And I think we do work with the Chamber a great deal. How do we help, what was the question again? How can we help businesses?
Yes, and the vacant shopping centers and how to help businesses.
We have programs in place at this time to help businesses. You have to understand that you cannot spend your tax dollars, city money, to help private business to improve their property. What we have done in the past, and we do quite often, is to go ask for grants that do allow this kind of things. And I can point to a number of places, AIDA for one. We were able to get an EDGE grant for them in order to expand. They, by the expansion, have brought in more employees and more business has come to the city through them. They are ready to expand again. This time I don't think that we'll be able to get another EDGE grant because there's not, the time has passed for that, but certainly we will work with them as we do with every business that there is. We don't discourage any of them, and you have to understand, someone mentioned a lot of dollar stores. We can't tell people what to put into the businesses that they open. We can only let them know what the zoning is, if they're allowed to be there. We can't zone them out of something that is allowed in that particular zoning district. So if dollar stores think they can make money here, we can't turn them away. And we don't want to.
Matt?
First off, I would just have to disagree. The city does subsidize private business, the stuff up there in carriage trails. But I will move forward with the question. How do you bring business to Hoover Heights? You get businesses, a government who is trustworthy. They will go to that city. Why are we creating business as a city and not seeing an influx of business? Tom has the sign to show that there's 6 acres for sale over there by the music center. The music center would be prime choice. Do we have, I don't know, maybe there's something in the works that we have someone already buying that 6 acres of land. But they should be flooding here like we were told. That's what it is. What you have to do, in my opinion, is you have to reach out to the people. Hey, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Okay? You have to reach out to the people. You have to say, hey, help us, help you. You have to go to the staff and say, hey guys, what do you have planned? Brainstorm this stuff. Bringing in more business with honesty, integrity. I guess that's what I think.
Jacqueline?
I think I started.
Oh, you started with that?
I still agree.
Okay, you're right.
That's it.
Okay, now we're going to start with Glenn. This is for all candidates. Do you support, this is kind of a tough one actually, you have to know your stuff here. Do you support issue 19 and do you support May 5 issue 13? Why yes and why or why no?
It's a great question because I'm not familiar with the first one.
I don't feel feel so bad.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say the
Anyone
question.
got 19?
Was issue 19 the issue 19 that was, we voted for? We already passed?
That's already passed.
That's issue 19, right?
Yeah, that one passed.
Well, did you support it?
Issue 19? No, I did not. That was actually a tax increase. Now, you will hear it said that it was not a tax increase, but if you actually read the 2025 plan on page 3, right at the top of the page, it says that the tax, issue 19 in 2018 and 24 November 2014 was a tax increase.
And then issue 13.
And issue 13, right, issue 13, I will be supporting. At this point, as we discussed earlier, the city needs that. We've got a lot of road to hoe before we can get to a point where we can pull that back. Unfortunately, we put ourselves in a bad position, and we're going to have to climb out of it. It's going to take some work, but right now, we're going to need that.
Thank you. Jan?
Yes, on issue 19, I certainly did support it, and definitely on issue 13, I do support it. Was it why or why not?
Did you and do you? Did you
Yeah, I
support
did and
13?
I
Did
do.
you support 13?
And it goes back to supporting the 2025 plan. This is long-term planning, folks, and that's what you want for your city. Long-term planning. We pass this issue, and we're good till 2025, and then you just sit back and watch us grow.
Matthew?
Did I support issue 19? No. Did I vote for it? No. Do I support issue 13? No. Will I vote for it? Yes.
Okay, Jacqueline?
Issue 19, I believe that was a tax increase. I did not support that, no. The income tax issue, I can see the need for it, so yes, indeed, I will support that.
Jan, where do you start? We have many rentals in Huber and in bad shape. Hurts values of homeowners. I guess that's a statement. But would you like to comment on that?
The statement is we have
That we have many rentals in Huber that are in bad shape, and that they hurts the values of homeowners.
Okay, I'm not sure it's the rental properties that hurt the value. I think probably it is the foreclosed properties, and we are working, as I had mentioned earlier, to take care of that. We do have one huge rental property owner in Huber Heights, and I understand that they are working diligently as renters move out, that they're improving their property in order to increase the property value and increase the rents for themselves. That property owner is Weisenborn. They came to us, I think it was a couple of years ago, when they wanted their taxes decreased. And I believe the city objected to that, the schools objected to it, and the decrease as a result was much lower than what they had requested. However, property values were decreased. However, they realized that, you know, if we're going to stay here long term, we really need to step up to the plate. And so what they did was they have for the last 2 years paid $25,000 toward our SRO to remain in the schools, because the schools' budgets were cut. We were not going to have a police officer in the schools. The city was paying half, the schools paying half. Now Weisenborn has stepped forward and paid the $25,000 each year, which has certainly been very helpful to keep them here. Other than that, again, it's the zoning violations. If you see any violations, certainly we will cite any property owner, whether they live there or whether they are a rental owner. We just need to know what it is, and we'll take a look at it on the property maintenance exterior. I don't know, we can't go inside.
Matthew?
Other questions?
Yes. We have many rentals in Huber and in bad shape. It hurts values of homeowners. I have more comment by someone.
Right. It does hurt those as homeowners. Wife and I, we don't know here. What's a city supposed to do? That's, what we could do is we could give some tax breaks to people. Not a lot of tax breaks, but we could give some tax breaks that would alleviate some of the cost on investing in those properties like the Weisenborn companies. But there's really nothing other than, providing a city that people want to come to live in. I mean, what you had is, yet our schools are not able to function at the capacity that they need to be functioning. And what you need, what as a young guy with a young family, what I look for when I want to move somewhere, I look for a place with a great school system. I look for a place that, I mean, that's the first thing. Sorry. Yeah, that's
I think as far as the rental properties, indeed, I mentioned earlier, I think we need to establish standards for our maintenance of our homes. And those standards need to be applied consistently. If it's a rental property, fine, apply the standard equally. I mentioned Weisenborn homes also, and that is a significant issue in my area. I've noticed that the 3 or 4 houses that are clearly rentals and clearly owned by Weisenborn, I went by one time and they had a very badly deteriorated driveway. It was a laptop driveway, and the person was out there with a little putty knife scraping on some of the tar that had been put in there. And I said, "Oh, you can make this better. You can put it through the driveway." "Well, we're going to fix it up." And he poured a little bit of tar on it and left. It's like, okay, thanks for the tax break. I appreciate the opportunity to pay twice the taxes on my house, so you can pay half of them on yours. And maybe with a property that's not nearly the standard of the rest of the properties in the area. So indeed, applying consistent standards through the city, and indeed having individual reporting mechanisms available that people can call up and say, "Hey, this guy's got a trampoline problem against the side of his house. Hey, this guy's got driveway issues really big time. It's cracking and breaking." Enforcement is necessary to keep the community standard up.
I will agree with that statement. For far too long, one of the largest owners of property in Huber Heights was Huber Home Rentals, and they were also an entity that was not held to the standards that many of us are. Why? I cannot say. However, there was not enough enforcement on those properties. Those properties have grown to be in major disrepair. We've even experienced clients who have had children with injuries due to the lack of maintenance with properties. It's pretty serious, as a matter of fact. But my hope is that Weisenborn steps up a little bit and decides to do the right thing and invest a little bit into their properties, because it's a great stock of homes, and certainly it wouldn't take a whole lot to bring them back around. But again, I think the crux is that for far too long we allowed one company, our largest property owner, to get away with far too much.
Thank you. Matthew, for you, starting with you, this is for everyone. What are your creative ideas for funding? Funding government, probably.
I think we have to live within our means. Just like everybody has to live within their means at home, we have to live within our means in the city. Trying to create business, to attract business, is not going to live within our means. That's spending out of control. What we need to do is spend what we bring in, or not all of it. What we need to do is plan a budget on what is being brought in. And if we don't have the tax base to pay for some of the things that get paid for, then we don't need to spend that money. We have to live within our means. That's
Jacqueline?
I think that the most effective thing is indeed, to echo what Mr. Truman says, money management. As we all know, anybody can spend more than they make. I mean, it's easy. You've all heard of people that win the lottery and end up destitute, dirt poor. You can spend more than you make, no matter how much you make. I've always consistently lived under my means because I won't have enough money at the end of the month to do what I want to do. Basically, clarifying the distinction between needs and wants some people wanted a music center, some people think we don't need it, some people don't want it because it makes too much noise in the backyard. There's a lot of issues on the table for all of these things. Basically, there are needs and there are wants, and we need to fill our wants first.
So far, well said. There really are very few mechanisms for funding in a city. Taxes are the primary one. We have tried investment in some cases, though I don't believe there's a lot of forethought in that. I believe with, for instance, the Aqua Center, I don't believe enough forethought was put into that. Though it's a beautiful recreational facility for the city, it really doesn't provide the year-round entertainment or recreation that a lot of other cities provide to their residents, such as Kettering or Vandalia. I think if we'd have looked a little bit further, we'd have seen that we had better options. So yeah, saving money to begin with and proper investing is very important. Now, there are probably small ways to raise things through volunteer efforts. We could certainly get into our parks and get some local businesses to work on sponsorships, get some local volunteer effort going, get some local, some of the youth, say the nonprofits, the sports entities and things of that nature involved as well, and we can get a lot done with things like parks and whatnot. But when it comes right down to brass tacks and we're talking about roads and infrastructure and just paying the bills of the day, really, as they said, we don't have a lot of funding mechanism there. Our goal here needs to be to reduce the cost and the waste that we currently have.
Jan?
I'm not very creative, I will tell you that. So, but I am very observant and knowledgeable about the funding in our city. And I'm sure that everyone remembers that we had the auditor of the state of Ohio himself came to our city to present us with the Golden Award with distinction. And that means that when they audited our books, that we passed with such high marks that the highest elected official in the auditor's office, the auditor himself, came to Huber Heights from Columbus to present this award. So I think that when anyone says that our finances are, that we're overspending, that is not correct at all. Everything that we have done is vetted a lot. We go to committee, first it comes from staff, then it goes to committee, and then it goes to council. But I wish that I could answer your question about creative ideas for funding right now. The TIF is the most creative thing that has come up, and that has come from staff. And I think it was great. It has allowed us to build a lot of things that we wouldn't have if it were not for that funding.
I think it's Jacqueline. If we only spend money on things the city desperately needs, how will the city grow? You have to spend money to make money? Question mark.
I think the growth is dependent on the private market, the private sector. The growth will come with the economy itself, as businesses see it as a good place to locate. They see it as a good consumer base. We're having a good market. Growth comes from the private sector. Look at Russia, Soviet Union versus the United States. The private sector growth was better than the United States because it was allowed to be. So the city doesn't need to spend the money to make the growth happen. The people that make the growth happen are those that attract the individuals spending the money in that city and the businesses growing.
If we only spend money on things the city desperately needs, how will the city grow?
Jacqueline is pretty on point there. We do, there are things that we can do to help to improve our city, but the bottom line is if we provide a good solid base for residents and members of the business community to move into, that they believe they can succeed and invest their dollars into, we're going to grow. It's not really our job to create those business opportunities, more our job to facilitate those business opportunities by providing them the tools that they need to get their job accomplished. That being said, since I have a little time, I want to step back because I've heard this and I want to speak to the auditor's award that Jan spoke of. I appreciate that, and I think that Jim Bell and our team do a great job. However, I don't think the Auditor's Award speaks to the fashion in which we spend our money. It speaks to how we keep track of our money and how we record it, and they do a fabulous job doing it.
Dan, you're next.
What was the question?
If we only spend money on things the city desperately needs, how will the city grow? You have to spend money to make money? Question mark.
The city will grow the way that we have grown since we became a city. We will be business friendly, we will be people friendly, and we will provide amenities for our people and our businesses. And that's why we have provided the opportunities for folks to spend their recreational time in our parks and in our swimming pools and our quality of life is important to businesses. If we're going to if a business is going to relocate somewhere, they want to be in a place where they will have good employees that will have opportunities to own a home or to live in a nice place and can recreate in their time after hours. I think that this city has provided that. Do you have to spend money to make money? I've always heard that I'm not sure that you have to. I think that's irrelevant. I'm passionate about what we have done and what we continue to do, and I am so happy with how it's turned out, and it's continuing to just look better and better every day.
I believe that the city, like Dan said earlier, the city will grow based on what the residents and the businesses that come in here. That's how, if we want it to grow, it's going to grow. If the businesses want to come in here, it's going to grow. But it's not the city's job to allow it to grow. Or to force it to grow, however you want to look at it. It's what we want. It's not what they want.
Thank you. And where could you, Lynn?
Oh, okay.
Okay, wait, no, could you respond to that? Jack, can you
Yes,
start
please
with
don't
you?
leave it.
You're up first. You're up first. Okay. And this could be a short answer because we want to give you a chance to have closing remarks. So why don't we try to limit this to maybe a yes or no? Your response on schools was Wayne-centric. Have you ever visited the portions of Huber Heights beyond Montgomery County?
I don't really understand.
This is to everybody.
Okay. Are you speaking out? I'm not sure if you mean you're speaking out to where the Coca-Cola is and those.
The portions of
Yeah,
Huber Heights beyond Montgomery County. This is about schools because he said your response, and this is to everyone, your response on schools was Wayne-centric.
Okay.
Have you ever visited portions of Huber Heights beyond Montgomery County?
Well, I'll say that I don't know of any Huber Heights schools beyond Montgomery County. When we get north into Huber Heights, we get into Bethel local schools. I understand that. Yes, I am familiar with Bethel local schools. My middle child dated a girl over there for about 2.5 years, so I got very, very acquainted with the bees and their programs. I will say that they are much more focused on providing their kids with more personalized treatment, I suppose. I found their prom very interesting, where the kids walked out with cash. I thought that was kind of wild. But there were some different things that went on, and I think Bethel has a lot of good things going for it as a small community, and its schools are very well done and tight-knit, and I am familiar with those.
Okay. Jan?
Oh, absolutely. I have spent a lot of time at the Bethel School because I had three grandchildren that graduated from the Bethel School. However, I also have been in touch with the school board members in the past. So I'm very aware of what's going on there, and I'm very pleased to say that because of what we are doing at Carriage Trails, that is helping the Bethel schools to make room for the extra children that they have coming there. It doesn't matter if the school is in Bethel, in Dayton, or in Huber Heights. We need to support education because it's just so important for our future. Our kids are our future, and we help. The portion of Huber Heights that's in Miami County do not go to the Wayne schools, they go to the Bethel schools. And I support both of them. Continue to, and I also support Dayton schools.
Matt?
My son attends Bethel. I was at the school Friday last week paying for his baseball fees. So yes, I go bees.
Zachary?
I'm not personally familiar with them, but I certainly drive through there a lot, see the schools, I talk to people whose children go to Bethel schools. I understand that they're very quality school operations. I really don't have a whole lot of corporate knowledge about them per se, but one thing that I think is good for our schools is allowing volunteerism. I'm really pro-volunteer, and if people have time that they want to do things that matter, get the volunteers into the schools, get people that are interested in the schools. Of course, background checking first, and put them in the schools, and then assistant teachers and anyone teacher skills important.
Jan, this is one quick question for you. How many years on city council?
25.
25, okay. And we're going to start this question with you. How much debt does the city of Huber Heights hold?
I don't know, I'd have to go to our finance director for that. Like I said, that's what's so nice about having the wonderful staff that we have, is when we're asked questions like that, we have someone to go to. And that's exactly what I would do, and if he were here, I would be able to answer that now, but he's not here. And if the person that wants to know that, I'll be happy to get that answer for you.
Okay. Probably our city manager would know the answer to that. Maybe not. Does anybody have any idea?
Not including long-term debt, best guess based on my research is about $59 million.
Okay. Anybody, if that's, think you're comfortable with that?
$59 million. $59 million with $1. $1.
Say that, I'm sorry.
$59 million and $1. Like the press heard the.
Oh, you're doing it tonight.
Sorry, sorry.
Here's this is actually, I think, our last one, and maybe, I think we've kind of covered this. What role do you see government playing in the city? I think you've all hit on that, so we don't need to go through that again. So why don't we start with, because I want to remind you before we do this, how many people have voted already? Has anybody here voted yet for this election? You can. Early voting is available now at the Board of Elections. So go and vote, because you never know what might happen to you on May 5th. You might wake up with a cold and not be able to get to the polls. So you can vote now at the Board of Elections. And I encourage you, anytime you know you can vote, you ought to just do it, so that, because you never know what's going to happen that day. So think about that, downtown Board of Elections. So let's start with 2 minutes for each candidate to give a closing statement, and we'll start with Jan Varga.
Okay, I really believe that I'm the best candidate. I've done a good job. I have not had anyone tell me that I haven't done a good job. I listen to my constituents. I have an open door, open telephone, open email policy. I'm going to spend my 2 minutes with something I think is really, really important. This is a new publication that will be coming out, or that's out now. And I want to tell you about the expansion that our current businesses have made in Huber Heights since the year 2008. AIDA has spent $24 million in expansion, Trimble $14 million, PVS Plastics $1 million, Huber Crossing $1.2 million, O'Reilly's Auto Parts $800,000, Children's Health Center $3 million in investment. K.E. Rose, $400,000, Grismer Tire, $150,000, McDonald's, $800,000, Arby's, $750,000, Marion Lanes, $1 million, Rooster, $700,000, Smythe Parts, $500,000, Clark Power PTI Trucking, $750,000, H.H. Gregg and Big Lots, $1.2 million, Fifth Third Bank, $1.750 million, Aspen Dental, $1.5 million, Taco Bell, $900,000. That's, with that investment, it has brought in 1,451 full-time jobs, 163 part-time jobs, a total private investment in our city since 2008, $69,140,000, with the city helping with grant funding to the tune of $710,000. So yes, we are business friendly. We have done our job, and I hope that all of you will consider keeping me on council. Thank you.
Matthew Truman.
I would just like to point out that that is private sector growth. But anyway, thank you to the League of Women Voters for inviting all of us out here. I think that it's an awesome organization. I have done some research and read, so it was, thank you for letting us come out here and do this. I think it shows a lot that there are 4 people running for council at large, and I think it shows that we really care about the city and we want to see its success move forward. I'm running for city council because I got frustrated at the spending of the city. And what I want to do is be the guy who researches and knows when asked what the debt is and knows how to make sure that it doesn't increase but decrease. I want to be your city councilman, so vote for Matt Truman. Truman's a good name too.
I'm also very appreciative of this opportunity to speak to you, and I thank each and every one of you for coming out here. It shows interest and compassion and passion for your city. It's like what's going on in my city and what people are running. I want to know more than just their name. And that speaks highly of you. There are myriad other things you could be doing, but you're spending your time here. We should want to make this a better place. And that is my objective also in running for the council. I really want to go ahead and my emphasis is teaming. I want to focus on getting our communities to work together, our community to work together, as it has to a large degree. I think it's wonderful that we've built so many businesses up. That's great. And people are paying attention to the budget. That's great. I really love that. I like to see teaming with churches, with the community groups, have people work together, okay? Let this be shown as a close-knit community. Bring us together because the community is strong and it develops a reputation based upon how the way people treat each other. And if we get our communities and our groups working together, people into the schools wanting to be volunteers, our churches working with our youth and our people that need help as far as any drug abuse issues, get those teams built up and people become stronger with that team and group.
Again, I would like to echo the comments of everyone else up here and thanking everyone for coming out and thank the League of Women Voters for having us tonight. I really appreciate this. First, I want to say that we really, one of our biggest issues is debt right now. We really need to focus on reining that in and getting that taken care of. After that, I want to address something I probably should have brought up during a question earlier, but growth. We've spoken about growth tonight. And though the city's footprint has grown quite a bit physically over the years, we've all seen it, Most people don't realize that our population numbers have really only gone from about 35,000 back when we started as a city to currently roughly 38 or 40,000. That's not a huge amount of growth considering how much grass we've taken up throughout the city. The issue is we've seen this push out, but we've also created a lot of vacancies within our private and commercial communities, which we need to really take care of and stop pushing our way out. We need to preserve some of that. After that, those investment numbers that Jan was reading sound pretty good. I think we can do a whole lot better, though, I really do. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a whole lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of interaction. We're going to have to get out. We're going to, as representatives, work with the community, work with our business community, actually get involved with people. I believe that there's no reason why every member of this community should not know the name of their council person. Every one of us have 3 representatives. And I talk to a lot of people that don't even know one. Now, it's not the people's fault. It's not up to the people to go to their representatives. It's up to the representatives to get out and meet their people. And I think we need to do a whole lot more of that. It's not happened enough over the years. Now, that is something I promised to do. I have the time, I have the energy, and I believe I have the ability to handle this position very well. Thank you.
Excellent candidates for this one position, and it's really a noble calling to put yourself out there this way, because it's public service is important, and thank you so much for doing what you're doing, and let's give them a hand.
Your vote is your voice. These 4 candidates, they're your voice in government. Encourage your neighbors to vote. Encourage your kids that are of age to vote. Vote yourselves. Exercise your vote. This is your democracy. This is your country. Please vote.